Live, love, learn with Courtney. Welcome, evolutionaries. You are now watching Live, Love, Learn with Courtney. And today we have a wonderful guest, Peace Studios, in the building. And before we jump into his amazing art and what he has to offer, we are going to get to the nitty gritty of Live, Love, Learn. Live, Love, Learn with Courtney is a service based platform where we connect community-based organizations with the community. We are all about evolution. Education is evolution. Let's grow together. And you know what evolutionaries do? We assess, we plan, we do. So welcome, Mr. Pierre Jean Baptiste of Peace Studios. Please introduce yourself to the people.
My name is P.A.D. Baptiste, visual artist straight from Brooklyn, New York, Haitian American. Me and Courtney go way back.
Yeah,
Friends for a
so
long time.
I want to say about 12, almost 13 years now, right?
Yeah, for real. Damn, time, time is flying. Sheesh.
You just
Damn.
made me feel real old.
I know.
So, considering you have all this work, tell us about your passion for art. What is it?
The forefront of it is definitely visual art. I love visual art. I mean, I didn't get into it until I started. I got into. I was always into art, but I started doing art after my mother had passed. But it was
Mm,
always something for me that was to always look into. Like every time I was feeling down or had like some type of emotion and just wanted to see something, art would
hmm
be that thing. And
So, in a sense, it's like therapy.
yeah, it is 100%. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Mm.
That's exactly what it is. Like getting any thought out. Like I'm thinking about how messed up this country is to how messed up this country is today. I'm gonna try to put that in my form.
And just to speak about that, looking at your background, you have some art there. Do you want to talk about those pieces that you're working on?
I am working on a collection right now, on a not a collection, an exhibition right now that I'm trying to put in the galleries as soon as everything is open.
Hmm.
But more so, I could tell you what I can't tell you what it is exactly all the way because I don't know what it is all the way. I'm
Okay.
still at the same time. So I could tell you what's my the narrative I'm pushing though. Um, depicting the black story from my perspective. You know,
Mm.
because every as a black person, as African American in this country, everyone has their story in a different perspective. In every class of black. You know,
Yes.
from poor to middle class to the wealthy, they all have their struggle that they go through different perspective, and they look at it through things. They look at the world in a different lens because of the struggles that we're going through. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Yeah.
So like their approach on life is different. Black people. So that's why I just wanna push that story out, make sure more black stories is told, and the what black people were thinking is told through art as well.
And I love that you're combining the different stories because the black story is so diverse. It's so many facets to it because just like other nationalities, even the white story, right? You have poor people, you have middle class people, you have creative people, you have reserved people. There's so many facets to being human, and blackness is a prime example of that because so often people like to put us into boxes and say, well, you're black and you have to speak to the entire race when you're in this setting, but you might not necessarily have any relation to the experience that they're discussing, or you might be also familiar with it and people disregard the fact. And I think it's very enlightening that you're able to do that, to put the relationship between blackness together and then say, hey, this is what's happening in the world. Let me go in and educate the people about it, because there are so many artists that really hone in on politics
Yeah.
subliminally without even realizing. So I guess I want to ask you, who has been your inspiration?
I mean, damn, the inspiration goes down a long line because art copies each other. Not the wrong word, not copy each other, but just art is a simulation of everything. You get what
Mm,
I'm trying to say? Like I feel like like if it wasn't for people like Pharrell and Kanye West, I wouldn't be introduced to people like Cause,
mm.
George Condo, definitely brands like Kid Robot when I used to see like sculpture toys, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
What's it called again? There's so much brand. I don't know why I'm messing up right now. There's so much Basquiat, Keith Haring. Um
So these people, right? Because you mentioned music artists
yeah,
and entry points into art, which I think is something that we don't focus on in the education sector as much as we could. And considering that you had to wait until you got to a hip hop artist to be introduced to something that would end up becoming your passion and your
yeah,
love, that's huge, right?
yeah.
And we often take for granted the influence hip hop really has on our culture, when the reality is, without hip hop, would we even have culture?
Tell me. You
Mm,
just said something. That's a fact. Honestly, because like where I grew up, I was not gonna see stuff like cars. You know what I'm saying? I was not gonna see stuff
mm,
like George Condo paintings or Picasso. I would see
yep,
Picasso, of course, because of that's they teach Picasso in schools. I would see that, but that was nothing. That was like about that was the surface, you know.
yeah,
So like I'm listening to hip hop. Of course, hip hop is the culture, and I'm getting introduced to things like that. I'm hearing things like I want to hear what this is. Seeing the stuff in the magazines, like yo, this is dope. Why are they
yeah,
doing this? You know, these are like creatives making a career, making a living, what they're like by what they love, their passion. You know,
mm.
that's like another major influence on me, a big inspiration that made me want to do this as well. You know,
And
I
speaking
feel
of,
like it. Sorry.
no, go ahead, finish your sentence.
It's like these creators are like little kids, like in the mindset, like whatever they draw something, put it on the computer, put it on the canvas, a piece of paper, and then is voila, it comes out. You know, like these like when I seen a cause statue on the internet, I was like, yo, what is that? That
Mm.
is dope. And I'm seeing like I said, people like Pharrell, Kanye West, other celebrities having this like deep in the sneaker culture too. You will see things like this pop up. It's just dope to see stuff like this, you know?
Yeah, and even just the way you and Justin, my fiance, connect over sneaker art, I just think that's so dope, because it's certain things like we have our own relationship. So to see you guys evolving your relationship in the realm of art, I kind of just look and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy, because literally there's so much art in the sneaker world I would have never imagined. I really just thought it was just, buy, sell, trade, whatever, that's it. But there's so much dynamic colorways, patterns, the Funko Pop dolls, the Cause dolls, like there's
Yeah,
just
all
the
of
whole dynamics of it. I can completely see how your two worlds fuse together. I
definitely.
and talking about fusion and inspiration, I had to get the inside scoop. And I definitely want to know, how did you feel? How do you feel when Diddy picked up your work, and just knowing that you are continuing to work with big brands and big names and expand P Studios?
I mean, that was a great moment. That was a great moment. That was that moment was just dope as hell. I would have never thought my piece would get to an artist like that. And there's an
Mm.
artist that inspired me as well as a kid, you know? Hip hop is basically what I grew up on, you know? Yeah, I kind of
So
like
how did it happen? Like what even went down? Did he just call you up one day and was like, "Let's
not
want you
no.
want a piece?"
So good friend, a good brother of mine, Joed,
Hmm.
um, works in that circle. You know, he works in that circle. He hit me up like, yo, he need he needs to get like he needs a piece, and he said the piece is gonna be for Diddy. I was like, for real? For sure, definitely. Joel is like a good friend of mine. I was like, yeah, for sure, I got you, Joel. And he hit me up. I totally forgot about it. He hit me up randomly. He was like, yo, look at your Instagram. Oh shoot, this is dope. This is super dope. It was amazing. I like the feeling.
And when he said, look at your Instagram, guys,
What happened?
and I was saying, when he told you to look at your Instagram, what we saw was Diddy, Puff Daddy, Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, right? He was unveiling your artwork and just recording the process and how much he loved and appreciated what you offered him. And then how you infused his whole family into it. He really was taken away by your art and the emotion on all sides. It looked like he was full of gratefulness and you were also full with gratitude, and it was just a lot of love. It was a lot of love
Gratitude.
during that
Yeah,
time.
definitely. It was definitely. It also pushed me. It also like made me. It was like a stamp in my mind. Like, yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. That's what I was at.
Mm.
I was like, I'm gonna keep doing this. Definitely. It was that. All right, people really appreciate my stuff, and not that I need appreciation from the world, but sometimes it is good to get
Yeah,
appreciation.
confirmation boosts the ego.
Yeah, it does. Like self appreciation, I appreciate self a lot. But if I'm doing something, I want people to appreciate it as well. So
Mm.
this a good like thank you.
Hmm. I want to I'm trying to like really push this whole education realm into people understanding that education is more vast than just taking a book and opening it. Like you're literally developing your art education on your own terms in your own time.
Yeah,
And right?
definitely.
And
Yeah.
you are. So we have to give ourselves credit for that. And oftentimes people don't even acknowledge the fact that the lifelong pursuit of knowledge extends beyond the classroom. So
Yo,
that's really what I'm trying to push with this.
that is amazing. That's a good ass for real because I'm really self teaching myself. I'm teaching myself. I'm teaching
Hmm.
myself, but I'm not to sound cocky. I know I'm a good artist. I know I can look at something, I can redo it. If I can't do
Hmm.
it, I'll sit down there. I'll sit down for a while and just take my time. I'll make it. Do the original, and then I will do my version of by myself. As long as I know I did the first, I know I'm gonna make
Mm.
my own version now. That's how my process is.
I like that. So it's like you, because they always say art imitates life.
Yeah,
So it's like you imitate the situation and then you transform it to put your personality and your spin on it.
yeah,
That's dope.
100%. Like these paintings that I'm working on right now. Um, that's why I said I don't know what to call it, right? Because right now it's just superheroes that I'm painting, right? But it's not
Hmm.
just the normal superheroes. I have a Black Flash, I have a Wonder Woman, Black
Yeah.
Superman, and a Batman, and I have this Flash piece. I have another piece that I did with a cop shooting at Flash, but Flash is already on his way out. He can't. Who killed the Flash? Not a regular normal Flash, right?
Hmm.
With a picket sign saying "Fight the power," right?
Wow.
And say "Ain't no gun can kill my soul." And that's what I'm saying. Like from my perspective, from my mind, the blacks from my story, from my mind, because I'm into anime, I'm into DC, Marvel. Not I love that stuff. So if I
Hmm.
could incorporate this and infuse it with what's going on in the world today, like real things going on with African Americans, put that. Why not? It's art.
Yeah.
My freedom
And
of
to
thought.
the victor goes the spoils, right? So whoever writes the history is the one that gets to tell it. And you're essentially creating history through your art because it's relative to what's happening around us today.
100%. That's and that's what I remember. Like every black person struggle is similar, but it's not the same at the same time.
Hmm.
Because I go through my struggles, right? But my struggles are not the struggles that let's say Diddy go through,
Yeah.
or the successful lawyer at some law firm go through. And he's the only black man at that firm that's a partner. You know,
Yeah.
it's that everyone goes through their own shit. It's just like different. Like racism like ties in with classism too at times. You know, because like
I think
black.
racism and classism have a greater connection than people realize because people often use the issues of classism to
Yeah,
hate a certain race. And it's like, your issue is not about the color of their skin. Your issue is the fact that you're struggling financially and you need an outlet to express. So you're taking it out on them. So
100%. That's what people
it's,
say. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know sometimes how to begin that correction, right? Because
yeah,
you as an artist, you express through art. And I guess me as an educator, I express my art through teaching and
yeah,
through developing. So even with like the summit that I did when we had Dame Dash and everybody on, it was just my theory of education is that we shouldn't be bored while we're learning.
yeah.
Just that simple
100%,
premise.
100%,
And
100%.
I tried to find as much involvement and engagement that I could, and God just started blessing me. Like, oh, you want a celebrity? Okay, here you go. Oh, you want to have games and awards being given? Here's some sponsors who's going to give you gift cards. You want this? Here you go. And it was just so much love and so
Yeah,
much appreciation. It even transcended my original thought of what education could be to realize that education is art. Like from the moment you walk into the school building, what does that look like? What are kids being presented with? Are they going to be confined to those dry colored walls, or are you going to splash paint and art and murals and things that engage and captivate them? So, what I love about art and what you provide and how we can even collab in the future is just the whole concept of life being art and
yeah,
making sure that all aspects of our lives are infused with art. I think that's really dope.
100%.
Yeah, when
Cause
I open my school, I'm gonna need you to hold it down.
yeah,
we're gonna have a budget by then.
yeah, to make sure it's a good arts program because we need more. We need more art. Well, that believe like the arts program is basically at zero now in the city, right?
Pretty close to it because of the pandemic. So we do have art. Um, it's not as, and I keep saying I hate saying the arts program currently is not as detailed as it could be considering the pandemic.
Yeah,
However, we have not fully erased art. We're not trying to do that. We've been fighting for
the kids
because
gonna feel.
if you erase art, every child of color is going to fail
Yeah,
because
hundred
that's how
percent,
we communicate. We communicate through art.
100%,
Mm.
100%. You need to get like on top of it. Like also, what I want to comment on it, what I want my art to pick as well. Well, it's gonna get there because it's a lot that's in my mind. But
Hmm.
this, I believe that black people need to start getting into more fields. You know,
I
I feel
agree.
like
I
I
agree.
feel like we're occupied in a lot of space in the entertainment, right? But I feel like there's so much facets to it.
Hmm.
I love like the boom of African American artists right now. I feel like it's about damn time. You know, I love that
Yep.
you know what I'm saying? It just expanding more cultural black people, you know, that just do who are dope in all different types of ways because we're dope in music, we're dope in visual arts, we're dope in beats, we're dope in everything, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And, just this whole concept of fusing what we're dope in, what we are pioneering into the way we learn, I think that
Yeah,
is where we will see the growth because putting STEM, as far as technology and engineering, mathematics and science together with art and adding creating STEAM when you're adding that art component. What we then do is create equal access for people of color
Yeah.
because we can enjoy science, technology, engineering, and math, but if it's not interesting or infused with some type of art, beauty, or things I like to call royalty measures, we're not going to be engaged. We're going to look at it and say, this is not worth my time and keep it moving. But when you add that art aspect onto it, and it doesn't need to be visual art,
Yeah.
it's however art is distributed to that person's mind.
Yeah.
If once you add that into the equation, now you have engagement and you have captivated the mind of the person who was learning, and they're going to continue to build. So hopefully, God willing, with support over the next couple of years, we'll really see an influx of artists. We'll see in all forms, like in someone who's a doctor, how skilled are you with your art? Are your when you're a surgeon, are your lines so precise because you're
Yeah.
considering what you're doing art? If you are a mathematician, are you creating new algorithms because you want to expand the mind and do something different with what is currently given to us, right? Those of us who are educators, are we molding minds and finding new ways to engage and explore, or are we just doing the same mundane routine over and over? So it's kind of like, what is your canvas and how are you going to paint it? And that's what we all have to figure out.
You hit it right on the nail. He said it. He said it.
Yeah. And that's from you, right? Because
Yeah.
you just saying that one comment that whatever your medium is, you have to keep pushing. It made me think about that. Like, I personally feel like the world is my canvas and it's my job to paint it how I want. So if I want the world of education to look this certain way, okay, now, Court, you better get to going and start painting it. Like,
Start working. Gotta put that
yeah.
work in, put that groundwork in. Make
And
it happen. As long as you like push, be persistent,
mhm,
you're gonna fail
I
one
believe
day.
it too. So, what would you say, or what words of advice would you drop to new aspiring artists who may not understand how to keep going or to continue pushing when times are rough?
But I was saying, like, keep pushing, don't stop.
Mm,
For real, don't stop. Don't stop. And especially during this time, like, because a lot of us are still not working. This is still quarantine. Despite of what's going on outside may look open, but it's really not.
mm,
Really not. And just keep pushing because like these are the times where artists emerge and like the real talent comes out. So
yes.
every artist that's out here that is inside, that's worried, like just put that worry in a canvas, or
I
however
love
you,
that.
yeah, however you, whatever's your medium, just put it out there. All right.
So you guys heard it from the man himself. Keep pushing, put your art into a canvas. Make sure that whatever your medium is, you keep it moving. And during these times of quarantine, this is the best time for artists to emerge and evolve. So, as we have been pushing along, you already know, evolutionaries, we assess, we plan, we do. Peace Studios has definitely come in, assessed the situation. We have planned to use art as therapy, and we are making sure we are still pushing and keeping on. So thank you so much for coming through, my brother Pierre. I cannot wait to continue building and evolving with you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. So have a good one, everyone.
Later.
With Courtney. Just making sure that that connection is bearing the fruit that you want it to.
No, you're right. I thank you for
Mm-hmm.
that point.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's already 7:25. Let me go get to these people them jobs so I'm not late. All
All right, man.
right, I love you, bro. I see you later.
Yeah,
All right, bye. Let's grow together.